Okay, so this is the Edfu Temple. This one's dedicated to the god Horus. Usually I start on the outside. I started on the inside this time.
Yeah, this room for the god Nile. Yeah, the god of the rock. See what I mean? The god of Nile, the god of the famous god of Nile. Just do it.
I'm doing this one backwards today because we have very little time. It's way too fucking crowded in here. So I started the inner chamber because I happen to be there. So basically, if you go back, there's a boat. And what they did was, so the god Horus, they would have a statue. And they put the statue in that little boat. Then they carried that boat on their shoulders to the Nile, which is just in front of us. Well, you can't see it here. Well, it's not just in front of us now, because it used to be. There we go. There we go. This is the place for the festivals. This is where the general public will come. The hall we just walked through would be for the priests. So yeah, so they would take Horus halfway down the river, and then 175 kilometers upriver was his wife. Was it Hathorn? Oh shit, God, I forgot her name. Anyway, so he met his wife once a year. They would do the same with her, put the statue on a little boat, carry the boat on the shoulders to the Nile, and then they would meet halfway. All right. This is the second largest complete temple. This is it's considered the most complete temple in Egypt. So if you look up kind of at the entrance behind me, well, not behind me now, it's in front of me, 360, doesn't matter. So so that basically look towards the exit, the way I was walking. At the very top of the door, you see like a circle. So that represents, I think, Ra, it's a protection symbol. And the holes are there because one night one squad of Napoleon's army was staying here and they needed to do target practice, so that's where they did it, against that. This temple was built around 275 BCE in the Hellenistic, the Greek period. And it was built on top of the original temple that was here before. Well, built right in the ruins of the original temple. So this was apparently discovered by a French archaeologist. Before then, all of this was under silt from the Nile, which used to flood every year. The Nile hasn't flooded for like a century because of the dams, the high dam and the low dam. So flooding is not a problem. Interestingly, silt is also not a thing because now there's no flooding, there's no silt. So fertilizing agriculture requires chemical fertilization now. And the outer wall here, like if you look to the right of where I'm walking, that's all mud. The guide said that that's the original wall. He said the reason they always built things out of mud is because the concept was that so the original concept of Egyptian gods is that there was one god who created himself. Actually, it's a bit of a masturbation story. That's how he created himself, apparently, was with the hand and whatever. I read that in another book somewhere. And then he created the sub-gods, the demigods, and so on and so on. But that first god, they believed, was made himself on an island. And in Egypt, the islands are covered in, silt on the outside. So the idea is that the first thing has to be a muddy outer rim, just like an island, to recreate spiritually, I guess, an island. And they're never straight. They tend to be meandering, the walls, and it's done, he says, intentionally to make it feel like a natural border. The one on the other side, the one that looks better, that's obviously reconstructed stuff. All right, so that's all for now. I'm gonna go have a coffee. See ya.